Hello friends, welcome to another video tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to build a personal finance dashboard. Pretty simple. Okay, so let me show you what we are going to build. Currently this is on localhost. Okay, so we are going to build only this one page, and in maybe subsequent videos we can improve upon it. Okay, so this is what we are going to build. Okay, so it has the basic functionalities to help improve your UI skills. Okay, so this video tutorial is basically targeted at you improving your UI skills, right? How you can design any UI that you want. Okay, so you can see we have a navbar here, right? And we have a search and a button here. Currently all these are dummy data, they are static data, it has not changed. Okay, and we have a card also here for summary, the activities with a chart, and also a donut chart or pie chart you see also here, then also the latest transactions as well as the account. So this is just a one-page app that we are going to build. Okay, so it's mobile responsive. So if I go to mobile, you can see that. Okay, so we have it like this, very clean and simple. Okay, right, great. Okay, so it also has a light theme, so I'm going to change to light theme, so just be careful of your eye. Okay, so it also has a light theme like this, right? So how can you do all of this using ReactJs and Tailwind CSS, right? Okay, so the things we are going to use, we'll use React, right? So if you are a complete beginner, you can just go to React, right, .dev, then read about. It's important to always read about the documentation, right? So how to get started, I mean, you can read, right, read about it, so you can learn more. Click on learn more, there you go, and you know how to start it, right? Okay, so we'll use React, then we'll use Tailwind CSS to style it, right? So Tailwind CSS, I'll go to stay. So we'll use this utility library to style our UI, right? Okay, now with the normal create React app, right, it takes a long time to create the app application. Therefore, we'll use Vite instead. We'll use Vite, but it is the same React. So if you're a beginner, do not worry. Vite is not different from React, right? Vite is a next generation front end tooling, right, which has React in it. It makes creating the app very fast and easy as compared to the normal create React app, right? But it is the same thing. Whether you use create React app or use Vite, it is still the same thing. So we use Vite to create the app, right? And our icons will come from React icons. So you can go to React icons and search any icon of choice, right? Okay, so, and we'll also use Richart, right, for our charts. If you see this chart, we used Richart, right? Okay, so this is what we are going to do, and I promise this tutorial is a beginner friendly. If you're also an intermediary or intermediate and you want ideas, I mean, you can stick around. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also support CodeWave. Okay, if you ever get missing, I mean, I'll leave the link to the in the description to get the source code, right, from a GitHub repo. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Okay, so I will open my Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, so I'll open my Visual Studio Code editor here. Okay, so the things you need to have if you're a beginner, you need to have a code editor, and I'm using Visual Studio Code, and you need to have node installed, and npm installed. Okay, so if you are a beginner, right, and you want to know whether you have them installed or not, just go to your terminal, or you can open the terminal from Visual Studio Code here, right, new terminal, and in the new terminal here you can just type node-v, right, and you see that I have version 20.10.0 installed. Now when you install node, it comes with npm, right, so you can check npm-v to also see and have npm version 10.2. You can also use yum if you want. Okay, but I am using npm. Okay, so how do we create the app? Now I have created a folder in my directory, so you can just create any folder. I mean, you can create folder in any of your directories, right? Anywhere you want to just create a folder, open Visual Studio Code, and just drag and drop it into Visual Studio Code like this, right? And it will open the folder. Okay, so my folder name is Personal Finance Dashboard. Okay, so now I'll open the terminal again, right? Okay, so I have the terminal open. And if you check the terminal, you should see the name of your folder here, right? Okay, so if you see, if you are not inside, make sure you navigate into it, right? Okay, so how do we create an app using Vid? How do we create an app using Vid? Okay, so where should we go? Okay, there is a guide here. It is always advisable to read the documentation. I mean, video tutorial can be outdated, right? But documentations are always updated. So whenever you get any problem, refer to the documentation first. Okay, so to get started, right? So Vid support all of this. You can create vanilla JavaScript, Vue, React, and Preact. You know, all of this you can create, right? So how do we create it? Now you need to run this command, right? npm create vid or vid at latest, right? So that you can get the latest packages and everything, right? Okay, so I'll just paste that and just hit enter. Okay, now I believe there is one thing I'm supposed to do. Okay, great. You see that I am given to, put the project name, but I want it to be the same inside the same folder. So I will cancel it. How do I cancel it? You just Control and C to cancel it, right? So I will put the same command again, and this time put /. The // will make it install in the same directory now, so I don't have to give any project name. So I just press enter, right? Now, if you haven't installed the Vid, I think it will ask you to install the package. Okay, so now we need to select one. So use the arrow up and down, right? So which framework we want? We want to React. So I'll just select it and press enter. Okay, do you want to use TypeScript or you don't? We are going to use JavaScript. So I'll just press enter, and that's all. It has been installed. So what it's saying is that you now run npm install, then npm run dev to start your app, right? So if I say npm install to install all the packages, right? And this will install packages. Okay, then I run this npm run dev to run the app. I hope you understand. Okay, great. So you see, creating an app with Vid was very fast. Okay. Okay, so whilst it is starting, you see that there are some couple of folders in here, right? So now, you see now another one has been added, which is node modules. In your development, probably you will not touch this folder. Why? They are the packages you are using. So there is no need to touch them, right? Okay, and there is the public folder. In the public folder is where you have the Vid icon. So if you have icons for your project, right, like the fav icon, you put it here. Okay, you can also put your assets there. And there is the source directory where you have, this is where you'll be doing a lot of the work. So in it, you have assets, which is the image React logo, right? And there is the app.css, which is styling, right, for styles. And we will not need this, so we can delete it. There is the app.js. Now in this app.js, this is where you have a lot of your code happening, right? Okay, so this is the, I would say the main file, right? The main file. Now you see that there is also the main.js, right? Okay, so in ReactJs, we are writing HTML and CSS code together in here, right? Okay, so the main file, you see that it renders the app, which is this one, right? It renders the app. Okay, so whatever we change here will be the one that will be rendered on the page. Now, if you use the create React app, you may not have this main. I think you have index.js or something. Yes, cool. So it's nothing different. They are the same. Okay, great. And there are also in this one, which we will not use, the styles we will not use. So I will delete them. We'll be using Tailwind CSS, and this is the only index.html file that we have. So in React, we write, in JavaScript and with this syntax JSX, right? Okay, but we only have one HTML file. If you use the normal React app, the HTML file will be in a public folder, but if you use Vid, it is here. So I will change this to personal finance dashboard. Okay, great. So this is where you can change the title of your project as well as the icon. You see the icon, which is in the public folder. This is where it's referred. So if you change the name, you need to change it here to have the icon also set. Okay, great. So if I run npm run dev, if you remember, if you're using the normal React, you need to run npm start, but with Vid, npm run dev. And now the app, it's running on this port, right? So you can just control and click on this, and it should be up and running, right? And I think okay, so it says that this is missing, right? Remember I deleted this, so I need to clean it up here. Okay, so I believe now it's in here. Okay, so now we have it here, right? I mean, I deleted the stars, that's why you see it like this. So now let us install Tailwind CSS. How do we go with this? So I can close this, great. So how do we install? Just search for Vite, right? Search for Vite. So if you search for Vite, you know how to install with Vite. It's pretty simple, right? Okay, so install Tailwind with Vite. Okay, so what does it say? It says that you need to create the Vite app, which we have done already. So we need to cd integrate, we have done that already. Now we need to install Tailwind. So let's go back. I'll kill this terminal, right? Control C, then press Y, and just paste it. So you see npm install with the capital D flag, right? The D will install it as a dev dependency. Okay, so I'll just press enter. So we'll install Tailwind, the post CSS, and auto prefixer. Okay, we go back again. So after that, we need to create the Tailwind. This we need to initialize it, right? We need to initialize it. So how do we initialize it? Okay, so we just press this enter, and wait for it, and you can see now tailwind.config.js has been added here. Okay, so this is our package.json, right? And you can see, as I told you, these are the dev dependencies. Development, it's only needed in here, right? And you can see that the Tailwind, the prefixes are here, right? The Tailwind and the auto prefix are here. Okay, so let's also install the React icons, right? So we'll say npm I. You can say install or I, they are the same thing. And React icons, right? Great. Now, one thing we'll also be using, we're not done with the Tailwind. Let's finish that. Okay, so after this, what you need to do is to copy this, right? And go into the tailwind.config.js file. So where is the tailwind.config.js file? Visit, go here and replace the content with what you copied, right? Great. So it will target the index.html file. You go into the source and target all the files that we have in there. Great. Okay, so we can perhaps test it and see. So now we need to copy this, right? Go into the index.css file. That's why I didn't delete it here, and put that one here. Okay, great. And now we need to run an app and test if it's working. Great. So we can now go into it, go into the app.js here, right? Remove all of this and put only this in, right? Let's remove all of this which are not needed. Great. How did I remove all? I just press Alt, Shift, and O to remove all unused imports. Okay, so now let's run the app again. Sorry, I'll say npm run dev, right? Okay. Okay, then let's go and refresh the app and see. Okay, so it has been triggered, and now you can see that it is underlined, meaning CSS, the Tailwind CSS is working. Now we'll be using Zustand for our state, so let's install it. The homepage is really simple and clean. Okay, so let's click on documentation, right? Okay, so documentation. Okay, here is installation. How do we install it? Say just run this, right? Great. I'll create a new terminal, so just click here and paste it and run and press enter to install. Okay, then Zustand has been installed. Okay, really simple. Okay, so I have some styles I want to share with you. It's pretty simple styles. Okay, I have this style I used for the toggle, right? It's just for the toggle, the team toggle. I'll close this. It's for the team toggle, right? So that's why it says team switch CSS. In fact, I use ChatGPT to create the that switch or toggle, right? Great. And this is the style, so you find it in the GitHub repo. Okay, so now let us talk about our folder structure. Okay, I also have an icon that an avatar I want to use, so I'll just copy and bring it and put it inside the SRC in here. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to have default import. So I'll have this index.js file here. Import the avatar, right? Import it as avatar. From where? You see that it is in the same folder, so I'll just put dot slash, then put a name, avatar, avatar.png, right? So if they were many, then we can just say export, right? Then we export it as default, not as default, right? Then we export it like this, not as a default import, as a name import. Okay, great. So wherever I go and I just enter avatar, then I'll import it from here, right? So if you have a lot of icons, you can do them like this to make it easy to use. Okay. Now let's talk about the folder structure. Okay, so we need to, now in React, what makes it very good and interesting is that what we do is we simplify the development. How do we do it? We break down everything into 8 components. Okay, so if I take you here, right, let's look at the app. Now you can see that we can do all of this in one page, but it will make maintaining the code very troublesome, right? So we break them down into sub components. What are components? Components are like different containers we'll have. Then we put everything together to make one application. So we have this Navbar will be one. Perhaps we can make even here as one. This card can be one. This can be one. This can be one. This can be one. This can be one. Then we put them all together. Now, one thing about components is that you can also make them reusable, right? So if you check, you see that this are the same with different icons and different text, right? Or content, I should say. But does it mean that we need to create them one by one? No, we can create one and reuse it for this and also reuse it with just props. So if you're a beginner, don't worry, you will understand this. And if you look things like these titles, they kind of look similar, right? So we can also use one component for it. Okay, great. So let's go in here and now let's start. So we'll have something called components. Great. So in the component now, I like to have some uniformity. So I'll convert this to an arrow function. Now this is properly allowed. You need not to change it, but I like to have an arrow function. So I'll just convert it to an arrow function. So okay, this is an arrow function, right? Okay. So in here, now I want to have my structure, right? The structure of the app. Okay, once we go on. Okay, great. Okay, so I will remove this and put a main tag like this. Okay, so inside this main tag, I want to put this theme equal to, let me say, light for now. Right, okay, and inside it I'll have a div. Now you see you let's go on. I'll tell you when we get there. Oh, actually this is supposed to be a folder, not file, or to be a folder component. Okay, it ought to be a component, right? Okay, great. So so in this div, right, now we'll have let me give some classes. Now because we are adding we're going to add that theme, right? Let us go back into our theme here, right? Sorry, the Tailwind config file. Okay, and inside here, after this, we can put something called dark mode, right? Dark mode, then we set it to class. Just put only class, right? Make sure you bring comma. Okay, great. Now, what we'll do is that here, when we have the theme, okay, when we have the theme, we're just going to say class name, right? Pretty simple. Class name is equals to theme, right? Okay, so when we change it light or dark, I mean, it will be added accordingly. Now, let us give classes to this. Now, if you are new to Tailwind CSS, check the documentation to understand. I'll not be able to explain each utility. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put width of full, right? Now, you see, if you hover over it, you see that you see the main CSS of it, right? So it just sets the width to 100%. How do I have that? If you go to extensions here, okay, you can see I have Tailwind IntelliSense. I think this, yes, I have this package installed, right? And there are others you can have. That's why when I hover over it, I get the pop-up as well as the auto-completion. Okay, you also need something like ES7 Plus, I think so. Okay, great. You also need to have this. It helps you with the snippet, code completion, right? Okay, great. If there be other thing, I think I'll tell you as we go on, right? Okay, so this. Now, the width to full. When the padding, now the PS is padding horizontal, right? That's left and right, padding left and right. So if you hover right, you see that padding left and padding right. So the py will also be padding top and bottom, right? Okay, so wherever you see my, ms, I mean, that is margin, m is margin, p is padding. Okay, so let's go. Okay, and on md, the md is for medium screen, right? We want the px to be 20. I want the background to be white, and on dark theme, I want the background should be slate dash 900. Okay, you can use any color of your choice. Great. So in here, now we'll have a navbar, right? It's okay, we'll create them shortly. Do not worry. We'll have a navbar which is not ready, so I'll comment it out, right? And we'll have another div. So in this div, we'll have an info container, right? We'll have an info container. Okay, so let me start this div. I'll say class name ps of 0, that's on normal screen, small screen, and on medium app it should be ps of 5, and on 2x, that is extra big or large screen, it should be 20. Okay, this is also not ready, so I'll comment it, right? Okay, so once we begin to create them, we'll just be on commenting them. We will also have something called stats, right? Okay, great. Then we'll have another one. Okay, so I just want to create this structure. We'll have another div. Okay, great. Now, okay, so let me show you. So if you come here, you see that this is the navbar, this is the info, right? And this is the start. This is the start. I mean, this takes from left to right, this also same, this also same. But you see that this one, there are two things, right? This and that. We can put them into one, but I want to separate them. I'll separate it since this is a different chart, this is a different chart, right? So that is why I have this div, right? I have this div to run the chart, right? This is one chart, and I also have another chart, which is the donut chart. I will say, great. So that's why I'm wrapping in this, so I can use flex on it, right? Okay. Then I also have, so let me even give the flex. So it will be width of full, right? It should be flex, so that we can apply flex is just display to flex, right? Okay. Then we can apply flex dash column reverse. Okay. So normally on small device it should be flex. The chart will come down and this will go down. But I want to reverse it. I want this chart to come up and this to go down. That's why I'm using the reverse. Okay. And on MD it should be flex dash row. Okay. Great. Want items to center, right? And a gap of 10. Okay, great. I also have another one, so another div, right? And in that we're gonna have transactions table, and I'll have last one, which is accounts. Okay, so I will also comment this. And let me also give classes to this. So class flex call, also reverse, right? I mean, if you want it that way, don't worry, you don't have to use the reverse, but I want to reverse it. Okay, flex row. Okay, so on a gap, that's space between them of 0 normally. On MD the gap should be 10, and on extra large screen, that's 2XL screen, right, the gap should be 20. Okay, I think yes, great. Okay, so now we have this way. So now let's begin to create them. So we have the navbar.jss as the extension and run refce. So if you have the ES7 plus installed, you should have this snippet, right? And I'll just change it to capital navbar, right? Okay. What again do we have? We have info.js, refce, info. What again? Starts.jss, refce, ce. Maybe I have something missing. Okay, great. I think that is great. REFCE, great. And this is start. Okay, and the other one is chat.gsx, REFCE. Create do not chat.gss. I want to believe the spelling is correct. Then the other one is transactions dot gss RFCE transactions, and lastly account. Okay, accounts. Okay, so I can close all of them and open this. Okay, great. So now I can import them, right? So just put your cursor in front of it, control and spacebar, and it can bring up the import statement, right? If it does not come, you can import it manually. How do you import it? Just say import navbar from. So if you check the directory we are in, we need to go forward one, right, to component, then navbar. Great. You don't have to bring the extension, right? And let's check if it's working. So if I go here, you can see there is navbar here. Great job so far. Okay, let's uncomment this and see. It does not come. I'll comment all of them for now. Okay, so now let's import them. So import info. Okay, I want to believe it's correct. Import, the next one is start from okay, my auto completion is doing a good job, but something is wrong. Okay, great. And this, oh great. So what is missing? Okay, yeah, let's continue. So import chat from here. I think I made it capital. Okay, no, let's be consistent. I mean, so I'll change this to chat small, this to do not chat. Okay, great. The next one is import do not chat. Great. I think this is small, and this is also small. If I click on it, does it go there? Yes. Okay, so why do I have this red line? I think if I close and open it, it should go. Okay, don't worry, I think it will work. So import transactions from, great. And lastly, import accounts from account. Okay, so let's check and see if it's working, and we have error with this, right? Okay, so I think here I think the error is from start. Oh, why is starts not coming? Okay, starts. Okay, let me comment it and see. Okay, so I have everything except starts. Okay, so that's also capital S. I mean, let's change it to starts. Okay, great. So when you get error, just take time to fix it. Okay, so this is how we have it. I mean, for now it doesn't look clean, but let's continue. We'll make it nice soon. Okay, so now let us pick them one after the other. I think we can close this. We don't need it anymore. Okay, and if possible, let's bring it side by side. Great. So now let's go to the Navbar here. Okay, so there's it. Let me close this. Great, so we are here. Okay, so I have created an array, right? So this is the array. I mean, if you look to the top there, you can see that there were this, right? So yes, so those are the things I have here. Okay, so just an array of dashboard, transaction, account, and this. Okay, great. Now we'll need something called useState. So I'll say const selected, right? We need to know the selected, selected, and set selected equal to useState. So if you are a beginner, what is a useState? UseState is just like a container to hold the value, right? And now, so this is the getter and this is the setter, right? So if you want to set value or pass value to it, you use this. If you want to get the value, you use this, right? You use this to pass value to the container and use this to get value from the container, right? Okay, so if I do like console log select, right? Selected, then this will print the value 1. Okay, I have an extension code ninja installed. That's why my logs log here, right? Okay, so you can try it. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's go on. So here we need to have we'll have a div here which will house the icon, right? Okay, it will house the icon, and I want to put the icon in its own div. So this div will be for the icon, and beneath it we'll have a span that will just say my finance. You can give any name of choice. Okay, great. So how are you going to get the icon? If you remember, I said we're going to use React icon and just search for the icon I use is it's RIKRNC. Yes, I think it's this. Yeah. I think it's this. Yes, and just copy the icon and put it inside here. So this is how you get an icon, and also copy the import statement here, right? Copy the import statement and bring it here. Great. So now if it goes well, you should have an icon here. Great. Okay, so now let's style it. Let's begin from here. Classes. Okay, width of full. It should be flex. Item should be in the center, right? And justify to between and padding y, that is top and bottom of 6. Okay, now let's start the icon. So class name, flex, item, center, right? Gap of 2, and cursor of pointer. We want the cursor to be pointer. Okay, great. So now let's come to the logo. Our logo, right? Great. So we'll give a width of 10 and a height of also 10. But on medium screen, we want the width to be 12, and on medium height also of 12, right? Okay, so this is how we can dynamically change, right? So normally on small devices it should be 10, but on medium upwards it should be 12. Okay, great. The logo should also have flex. The item should be in center. Justify to also center. Let me break this down. Okay, justify to center. We want to give a background color of violet dash 700. It should be rounded dash full to have a round not full. Maybe we can make it Excel. Great. Yeah, something like this. Oh, sorry, SL. Great. Okay, so something like this. Now let's come to the icon. We can also apply some class names here, right? So we want the text should be white. That is the font color, right? The foreground, not the background. Okay, the text should be 3XL, right? That is for the size. Okay, and when we hover over it, we just want to do something funny. We just want to animate, and the animation will be spin, right? So if I hover over it like this, I want the icon to spin, just go round. If you don't want it, you can take it off. But what I want you to know is that Tailwind also has some animations, cool things you can do, right? So like this, I hover over it, it scales. Okay, it rotates like that, kind of. Yes. Now let's come to this. Okay. Oh, sorry, not here. Let's start our the name. Okay, so we want the name normally should be Excel, right? And the font of bold. The text should be black, right? But on dark mode, right, the text should be I think white. Yes. Okay, so now we are on dark. So if I go here, right, and I change this to dark, let's hope it works, and boom, it works. Great. So we're getting somewhere, right? Okay. Which one is good for the eye? Okay, let's keep it dark. I think dark is good for the eye. Okay. Okay, great. So we are just done with our logo. Pretty simple. Okay, so now this is the one that wraps it, right? We go below it. Okay, so in here now we want to have our list, right? So we'll give another div, and inside that div we are going to map over the links, the one I have up there, and we use a function called the map function to map over them. So we'll get each individual link and index. And great. So now we need to return something. Now there are two ways you can have this return, right? Putting it in a curly braces and bring the keyword return, right? Then this. Now when you do it this way, it will work, right? So let's say we'll give a div. Oh, sorry. Great. This will work, and inside this we'll have something we call we have an anchor tag in, right? It will go, this will go nowhere, and I'll just put in the link. Okay, great. Now it will work if you see it work. It's here, right? Now, so here, if you want to do anything, you can do pretty cool stuff here, right? Yes, you can do anything you want to do here, but we are not going to have, do anything up there. Therefore, this whole thing it's not needed. So I'll remove the return and the curly braces and return this immediately, right? So this will immediately return it. So with this one, you can't do any stuff again. It will immediately return this, and that is what we want because we'll not do anything again. And that is a cool, function, right? Okay, so we don't have to waste more code. We just need to go straight to the point, and that's what we're doing. I hope you understand. Great. So if I check it where, I think it should be this, right? Great. Something like this. We have this. So make sure you check the parentheses very well. So this one to this and this here, and in here we put this. That's it. Okay, great. Great. So we have this. Now at first there was an error, but I think it's gone. But however, the error is related to key. Now when you're mapping over elements, you need to have a key, and the key, I'll put the index, right? Something unique for optimization. If you still don't put it, it will work, but put it for optimization, right? Great. Okay, so you just need to put a key for optimization, right? Okay, now let's begin from the outer here and style it. Okay, so here what we're going to do is that on small devices we want it to be hidden, so you can use this hidden. And what does it say? It set the display to none, right? So on small devices like mobile you will not see it, but on medium we want it to be what? Flex. Great. Items to be in center, right? And a gap of 4. Okay, great. So you see that now it is missing. Okay, great. Now let's also style each individual. Okay, great. So here what we're going to do is that we're going to use dynamic classes. So we'll put curly braces, then backtick, right? Backtick. So in the backtick here we'll put $, if you're a beginner, $, so that we can write dynamic classes in here, right? So we'll say index, right? If the index is equal to selected, right? The one you click on, if the index is equal to selected, right? Question mark, they will put different classes. Else we'll put also different. So this is a ternary operator. If this is true, question mark means true, then this, else semicolon this. Then we'll add the default classes here. Okay, so what are the default classes? The default classes is pattern X of 6, pattern Y of 2, right? And rounded dash full, right? So these are the default classes. Now when it is selected, we want the background to be black. Black. Okay, great. And on dark, the background should be slate 800. Okay, and the text always should be white. Good. And if it is not selected, the text should be gray dash 700, but on dark Text should be gray dash 500. Great. Okay, great. That's pretty simple. And when we click on it, right, we want to bring an on-click function here, on-click. And when we click on it, we'll call a function, right, that is the set selected, right, to change the value to the index, right? Okay, so this will set the value. Okay, so if we expand this and check, right? Okay, so now we have it this way. If I click here, you see it has changed, because it sets the value of the set selected to what we just clicked on. I hope you understand. Okay, great. So now let us talk about the other part. So we're done with this. Pretty simple. Great. So always remember we are still inside the main div. So one div down. Okay, we'll put another div in here, and here I'll have the theme switch. Okay, theme switch. So let me comment it for now, and I'll go down and I'll have another div which will house the user image and the name. Okay, great. So we'll put the image, and the source. The source is the avatar. We are the avatar. Okay, our avatar is not coming. Okay, so let's import it. We'll import avatar from I believe dot slash, then go into assets, then index, right? And then we can even remove the index and it will still work. Okay, so here I will say user, and I'll give class. Okay. Okay, so this one, yes, okay, I think it works. Okay, let's continue. And we'll have a paragraph. No paragraph, let's have a div. Wait, to put the paragraph, which should be the username, and I'm going to put John Doe. Okay, oh sorry, John Doe. Great, John Doe. And I also have a span tag and put email John Doe at CodeWave. Let me just say that gmail.com. Okay, great. Now beneath this div, right, we'll have an icon, and this time I want to copy my icon. Yes, you can search it. Yes, make sure you import it. Great. I have this here. So I want to believe they are there, but I can't see them. I think I have a little. Okay, so let's check and see. So if you go to your console, you should see the errors, right? And it is saying that the error, let me reload, see that uncaught syntax error. Okay, so this okay, I think okay, let me remove this and see. Okay, so it's say that's not okay, so it's not a default import, so we need to put it into a CodeBases like this, right? Okay, great. So now the icon is here. Great. Okay, so now let's start this. So here, let's begin from here, right? Okay, so from the switch, so we'll say flex. I'll say flex items to center, a gap of 10, and on extra 2s a gap of 20. Okay, so let's talk about this here. Classes, flex, item center, and a gap of 2. Okay, so let's come to the image. Width should be 10 on MD, width should be 12, height of 10, MD, height of 12. I hope you get the drill. Okay, it should be rounded dash full, rounded full. Then we want the object to be cover. Okay, so now we have it small like that. Beautiful. Let's also set the cursor to pointer. Okay, so you see how it is now. If I set it to pointer, now I have the hand icon. Okay, right, the cursor. Great. So let's come here. So here, let's also give class. On small devices, we want it to be hidden, right? On MD, it should be block. It should be block. Great. Now let's start the name. The name should have text LG, that's text large, font medium. Font medium. The text should be black, and on dark, text should be gray dash 400. Let's make this also smaller. This, okay. So text should be SM. Text should be gray dash 700. And on dark, text of gray dash 500. Now let's add some stars to the icon. It should be hidden on small device. On MD, block, text of 2XL. The text should be gray dash 600. Right, on dark, the text should be gray dash 300. Okay, 300. And cursor of also pointer. Okay, great. This should be dash not equal to. Great. Okay, so you see it's also gone. Great. So basically this is our navbar. Great. If I make it big, great, it should be like this. Great job. Okay, let's go to the next session, which is here, right? Great. Okay, so I think we are done with this, so we can close this and go to info here. Okay, so now how do we make reusable components, right? Okay, so now in reusable component, we pass something we call props, right? So what are the props we can pass? We can pass a title, right? And something called subtitle. Okay, so this will make the content always dynamic, right? And how do we pass props? So as we are here, right? So we can pass title, right? Equal to, then we'll say dashboard, that's all. And say subtitle should also be equal to, what was the subtitle? Great, I'll just copy it and bring it here. That's all. Great. So if we go in here, then we accept this. This is called props or argument, whatever. Yes, prop or argument. So we accept it here, right? Okay, great. So in here, we need to render them, right? Okay, so here I'll have H1, and in the H1 I'll put the title, right? And I believe it should be here. Okay, so you can see dashboard, I think dashboard, and below it I'll have a span tag, then put subtitle in there. Okay, so we render the title and the subtitle here. Okay, great. So now let's start them. Okay, so here, class name, flex, it should be flex column, right? And on MD, we want flex row. On MD, the item should be center and justify to between, and PY of 8. Okay, great. Let's come here. Here we'll only give margin bottom of 6. Okay, great. We want space down. Okay, so let's start the title itself. So text dash 4XL, font dash semi bold, or semi bold. The text should be black, and on dark, text should be white. no, let me say gray, that's 300. Okay, and margin bottom of 2. Okay, so if you see, it's coming up fine. So let's check this. Great. Test gray of 600, and on dark, test gray of 500. Okay, great. So now let's go to the right side, a div. Okay, a div in here. So now here we're gonna have the search right box and this. Okay. Not this here. Okay, great. So inside this, we'll have a div to wrap the input, and I'll have an icon. So I'll just bring the icon. So search for the icon, and great, bring it here. So I have the icon and I have the input. Okay, great. So that beneath this div, right, we'll have a button, and inside the button, I'll also have an icon. I have an icon, then a span that will say filter by. That's it. Great. Okay, so you see the input is here. So now let's begin on it. Okay, so here it will be flex as usual, items to center, a gap of 4, on MD, a gap of 10, a gap of 10, and on 2XL, a gap of 20. Okay, great. So now let's come to this flex item center, gap of 2. We want to have a border, and the color of the border should be gray dash 300, and on dark border should be gray dash 600. Let me break it down or wrap it. Great. So I just press Alt and Z to wrap and unwrap it. Great. It should be rounded dash MD, then pattern X of 2, then pattern Y of also 2. Okay, so since it's pattern X to pattern Y, we can just say P2, which will give the pattern X and Y and everything, right? So on all sizes, 2. Okay. So this is what we have now so far. Let's check on the icon. Class. Test dash Excel. Test dash gray dash 600. I mean, you can see we've taken a little bit of time because we are writing classes for light and dark theme. Okay, so that it should be test gray dash what 500. Okay, 500. Okay, so now we have it here. Very nice. Okay, let's come here. Now let's put a placeholder. The placeholder will be like search now. Great. And let's give classes. Okay, so we want the background to be transparent. Great. And you see when we click on it, you can see there is an outline. How do we remove it? We use something called outline to none. And now if I click inside it, you see it's gone. Beautiful. Okay, so the text should be gray dash 700, and on dark text should be gray 500. Great. So if I type now, it's good, working out fine. Okay, now let's check on our button here. Okay, so class flex item center gap 2 BG black, on dark BG violet violet 800, PY of 2 and PX of 4, and it should be rounded. Okay, it's coming up fine. Icon, class, test to white. Okay, I think we can even put the test white here. Okay, let's try it. So instead of rewriting test white for each of them, we can put it here and say it works. Okay, so with the icon size, right, we can also use a property of size, right, and put, let's say, 24, and it also work great. So we can use the Tailwind to provide style it, and we can also put the size here like that. Okay, so here we want the text to be base, and I think that's all. Okay, great. We forgot our theme, so let's work on the theme. Okay, so that we can say we are done with that part. Okay, so here I'll go and say theme switch.js RAFCE. Okay, so theme switch. Okay, so if I go into the navbar, now I think I can import it. Theme switch. Okay, it's here. Great. Let's come in here. So here we'll need a couple of things. We'll need useState snippet. Okay, so we'll need to get is dark mode. Great, which will be equal to theme equal to dark. Now this theme does not exist yet, but let's create it. Great, but first don't forget to import useState. Now inside the source directory, right, create a folder. To create a folder and a file together, I'll just say store slash, then I'll put index.js, right? So this will create a folder and a file. Great. Okay, so this is just one simple hack. And now let us create our state, right? If you remember, we said we are using Zustand. Zustand, where it is. Great. So you see, it's really simple like this, right? You need to create a store first. So I can just copy this and put it here, right? And now make changes, right? How do I make changes? Now I'll take this to be theme, right? And the theme first, we'll first check from our local storage and see the get if the theme has already been set, right? So check theme. If it is set already, right? If it is set, then I get it. Else, I'll put a default value of light, right? Okay, great. So I have the theme. Now I need to also get a function to set the theme. So I'll say set theme. I'll call it set theme. So this, we get the state and get this, right? So what I'll do that it's in this state, right here, I'll just have the theme and turn the value to what will be sent, right? Great. And I'll get the value through here, right? So we'll send a value, we'll get it. Actually, I think we don't even need this, so we can remove this. Great, and make it simple like this. Then we also remove this ones here. Great, so we'll pass the value and we'll set the value to theme. Okay, so now let's export it. Export calls this. You see, it's really simple. Zustand, it's really simple. You don't have to do any big deal. And just come here and say import, right? I mean, from use store, okay, this is not the use store from Zustand, right, but it is our use store. So let's import it. Import use store, right, from dot slash, then we go to store. Great, that's all. Now inside it we'll have the state. You understand? It should be use store, capital S. Great. We have the state, and in the state we'll return the state, right? Because we'll return the state because we want to, because if I put dot here, you can see that we can get the theme and we can also get the set function, right? But I want to destructure them, so I'm saying theme, then set theme here. Great. Okay, so if I think we can try it and see console log theme, and we have an error. Or is the error? Okay, it says light. Okay. Okay, I think it's working now. Okay. So in here, we'll need a function, right? So say const toggle theme, an arrow function. Great. So say const new theme should be equal to is dark mode, right? So we first check dark mode. Whether dark mode is true, then we set it to light, else we set it to dark, right? If it's dark mode already, we set it to light, because this condition, let me close my sidebar. This condition will make this value to be true or false. So if it's dark mode, it will be true, right? So if it's true, we set it to light. If it's not, we set it to dark. Okay, then we set is dark mode back. We change it back to the value of opposite of dark mode, right? Okay, then let's set our theme, right? Our theme up there, and pass the new theme to it. Also, let's set our local storage dot, we use the set item, right? You see, when we want to get it, we use get item. If you want to set it, we use set item. Okay, great. Okay, so here now let's begin. We will not need this again, so let me go here. Okay, great. Okay, so here I will use dynamic classes, so backtick, and I'll first put switch, and this switch is coming from the CSS file that we have, right? So if you copy that stars, we should have it. Okay, and I'll say that if it's dark mode, right? If dark mode is true, I'll write here light, else I put dark. Okay, great. To have the appropriate stars. Now on click, let me bring the on click function here. On click, I want to call the toggle theme function, right? Great. So now inside this, also if you can see that something is coming up here, right? Great. And you see when we click on it, I think it has to work. So now let's get the ball. So we have a div, right? We have a div in here, and all we need to do is just to provide the classes, which will also be dynamic. So I'll first put ball, which will be coming from the classes that we have. Okay, so you can see we have the ball. Great. And also have this condition that is dark mode, right? So if it is dark mode, I'll put dark, and if not, I put light. So if it's dark mode, I put dark, so that we can have the appropriate styling, right? You see? Great, great, great. So now we can go back here, and instead of this default value, now we can use our store, right? You see how simple it is to use Zustand? Is it Zustand or Zustand? Anyone? State. And in the state, we have the theme like this. So beautiful. Now we're making progress. So you see, great. We have been able to implement dark and light theme. Pretty simple. Great. If you have come this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Great. So where do we move now? Okay, so now let's move to stats. Great. So we're making progress. Okay. Okay, so stats, I have data that I have prepared. I'll just bring it. You can find it on GitHub. So the data has a label, right? It has the amount, and it has whether there is an increment or not. And I'll import these icons, right? Icons with also sizes. Okay, great. So this is a pretty simple data. And I also have some colors I have set up here for the styling, right? So I have the icon star. So I have the first one of background blue, and the text also blue. So 300 and 800, and this is emerald, and this is also rose, right? Great. So we use the index, right, of the data to fetch the appropriate style. Okay, great. Okay, so let's begin by giving styles here. So flex core, column, MD, flex of row, items to center, and justify to between, gap of 8 and 2xl gap of 40 and margin bottom of 20. Let me break it down. Okay, let's bring another div. Okay, let's map over the items. So we say data, as usual, map, right? We get each item and the index. Okay, we need the index, then instantly we'll return a div. Okay, so as usual, let's provide a key, which will be the index. We can also use the item dot, maybe its label, right? We can use that also. I'm just adding this, you can remove it. Okay, great. So let's start this. So it will be full width on small devices, right? On 2xl, I want the minimum width to be 96. The minimum should be 96, so it can be more than that. It should be flex, items to center, and justify to between, and a gap of 5. px of 4, and on md px of 8, right? py of 12, rounded dash lg, bg of gray 50. Okay, and on dark I want the bg should be slate dash 800. There should be a border, and the border should be gray dash 100, and on dark the border should be slate dash 900. Okay, so we have it this way. Great. So let's go inside it and have a div with class, flex, item center, and a gap of 2. Another div, and inside this div I think we'll have an icon, so we'll just say item.icon. Okay, great. So now let's give classes which will be dynamic for the icon. Okay, so it should be width of 12, height of 12, right? It should be flex, item to center, justify to center. It should be rounded dash full, right? And now let's add the dynamic classes, which is the background. So we'll just say icon star, they will pass the index, right? Great. And you see, great. So if it's 0, or select this. If it's 1, it select this. If it's 2, this. Great. So if you have more item, you can just give, stars accordingly. Okay, great. So now we have an icon, which is this. Great. So beneath the icon, we have another div. Inside that div, there will be a span, which will take the item.label. Great. And below it, we'll have a paragraph tag, which will take the item.amount. And I want to precede it with the $sign. Okay, great. Let's start. I want space of y to be 3. Okay, great. So you can use space x, space y if you don't want to use flex, right? Great. So let's clear test gray dash 600, on dark test gray 500. Let's make it 400. Okay, so it's coming out fine. Should be test base, but on MD there should be test LG. Okay, great. Now let's start the paragraph. The test should be 2xl normally. On extra large screen, the text should be 3XL. There should be a font that's medium. The text should be black, and on dark, uh, on dark text should be gray dash 400. Okay, great job. So that's also done. So now let's go to the side. So this, so go beneath this, right? Great. So after the amount, make sure you go to 1 and 2 divs below, right? Great. So just have one last inside the map function and just put another div. Okay. And in that div, we have a paragraph tag, and the paragraph tag will render the item dot increase. Okay. And let me add the percentage sign. Okay, great. So here we'll have and below it will be a static string. So I'll bring span and just say compare to last year. Okay, whichever thing you want to put, you can put it there. Okay, so now let's start the paragraph. Okay, dynamic. So we'll say it should reflect a gap of 1 items to center. The text should be base. On MD, text should be large. Okay, font to semi bold. Great. Now let's add dynamic classes. So what are we going to check? We're going to check if the item dot increase, right, is greater than 0. If it's greater than 0 means there is a positive increment, right? And if not, then it's negative, meaning minus. So change the styling. Okay. So if it's this, okay, so if it's positive, right, we want the text should be emerald dash 500. Okay, great. And if it's negative, we want the text to be red dash also 500. Okay, now you can see that there is a negative sign. We're going to have an icon, right? So I will bring the icon. Okay, so I'm saying that if increment is positive, I want to have the up icon, and if it is negative, I want to have the down icon. Okay, great. So you see, okay, so now you see the up icon. Now, since we have this up icon, I don't think it's good to have the negative. Moreover, we are using red to indicate downward, right? And there is also this, so there is no need to have it. So to remove it, now you can have it if you want. To remove it, what I'll do is I'll just put the mass dot absolute function and just pass it to this, so we'll turn it to positive value, right, without a negative sign. Pretty simple. Great. So that is it. We're done with that one. If I stretch it this way, now you can see it here. Great job. Oh, I don't think, let me check it well. Okay, let's start this. Great. I think it's not showing, so we'll just say test dash xx on MD test dash SL test dash gray dash 600, and on dark test gray 500. Okay, and I want to believe this time. Great. So something it's wrong somewhere. So I think the not the margin, the pattern is very big. So let's go here. Okay, and reduce this to 30 and see. Okay, great. So I think this one is okay. This one is okay. Great. If I do it this way, great job. Okay. Okay, great. So now where do we go again? We are done with this. So we move to this chart. And this chart, it's pretty simple because we are using rechart, right? And if you come to this recharts, there are a couple of examples provided. So you can just click on examples here and you see there are different charts available, right? So this one, it's going to be easy because I just copied them from the documentation. So we'll be moving fast here. Okay, so I'll just bring the various imports. So here I'll bring the imports. So we are importing the Cartesian grid, the legend, the title, the line chart, the responsive container, tooltip, x-axis and y-axis, right? Great. I'll also bring my data. I'll bring the data that I have prepared. So it spans from January to December, right? Okay, so I mean, you can also get the same. It has the label as the month, the income, and the expenditure of every month, right? Great. Okay, so I don't think I install ReactJs. So if you go to guide, right? Guide, it talks about the installation. So just copy this command. Okay, so open your terminal. So terminal, great, and just paste the command and run it. Okay, great. Now, if you remember, I told you that we have a title here, which is the same thing here and there, right? So whilst it is installing, let us create the title. So I'll go into component and just say title.jss rafce or rafce. I think, okay, it's not coming. Let's go. Okay, great. Okay, so it's going to be a paragraph tag. Great. And inside the paragraph tag, we'll render the title. Great. So we'll take the title as a prop, right? So title here and tag. Great. So let's style it. So it will be text that's 2XL on extra large text that 3XL font of semi-bold text of gray dash 600 and on back text of gray dash 500. Okay, so great. So now we are done with the page. I mean the title. Let's rerun the app because we just installed this and let's see. You can see that it's not working. So let's hope that it works. Right. Great. So now it's back online. So sometimes when you install packages, you have to shut down your app and run it again. So the title here, it's complete. Okay, so now I need to import title. Okay, so now let's import the title component we just created, right? And it's not coming to. Let's make sure we exported it. Title. Okay, so let's export it. Export default title. Okay, so if we come here, now we can import it. Great. And the title is the title should be transaction activity. Okay, great. So it's here. Neat. Okay. So now we'll have a responsive container, right? Which is coming from here, right? Good. It's good. We wrap it with a responsive container. In fact, all of the things here are in the documentation, so it's not anything new. But then let me start this one first. So I'll give a full width, right? And on MD, I want it to have a width of 2/3. Okay, great. Now in this responsive container, I'll give a width, and the width will be 100%. And I'm going to give a height of 500. Great. And I give a class of margin top of 5. Oh, sorry, my bad. It should be this. Okay, great. Like this. Great. So in it, now we have the line chart. Great. We have the line chart, and inside the line chart, we have the Cartesian grid. The Cartesian grid. Okay, great. So the line, let me make sure, line chart. Okay, great. So line chart, it also takes width. So I'll put 500, height of also 300, and I'll put the data. The data will be the data that we created. Okay, great. So it's great. Now the Cartesian, it has something we call stroke dash array. Great. And we'll put 3 3. Okay, so this 3 3 is from the documentation straight out. Okay, great. So now I need to put the y-axis, and I'll put another x-axis. Okay, then I'll put the legend. Okay, I'll put the legend, and now I'm going to put the line itself, right? Great. And okay, so this is a self-closing. Okay, so it's coming up here fine. It's a self-closing component, right? And we need to pass type to be more no, this monotone. Okay, great. Then the data key here is income. Okay, income, and stroke so stroke R of 8. Okay, so we'll have another one for the expense, so I'll put another line, right? Okay, so here I also have the type same as monotone. Okay, monotone. The data key will be expense. Great. And the stroke will be so here I'll just bring the colors, the stroke colors. Sorry, so the stroke ought to be this. The stroke is the colors here. Okay, so now we have it this way. Great. Okay, and I mean the theme also affects this diligently. Okay. Okay, great. So now that's the chart. Okay, so let's move to the other chart. That's the donut chart. So I'll close this and go here and go to donut chart. Okay, so that one too, I'll bring the imports and I also bring the data. This is a dummy data as well as with its colors, right? Okay, so I have just total income and total expenditure, and I have 4 different colors. Okay, these colors are coming from the documentation. Okay, great. So we'll bring the title again. Okay, and the title is summary, if I remember. Great. So let's start this. Full width on MD, the width should be 1/3. It should be flex. Flex column items to center. BG of gray dash 50, and on dark BG dash transparent. Okay, great. So responsive container Okay, responsive container takes width of 100%, height of 500. Great. And inside it, I'm going to put a pie chart. Okay, so it also take width of 500, height of 400. Great. Inside it, I'll put two tip. I'll put the legend. Then now I'll put the pie itself. Okay, so let's provide some props to this pie. Okay, so the data will be the data up there. Inner radius will be 110. I mean, you can format the values to your preference, right? Outer radius will also be 180. The fill color should be this. Fill should be this color. Great. Then pattern align of 5. Then data key of value. Okay, great. So now I have 2 here. Great. So this is how it will show. But however, I want to change the colors, right? And it's coming from also from the documentation. Great. So the documentation is also always a great source to go. So we want to map over the data, right? And get entry and index. And instantly we want to return cell. Okay. A cell is a closing tag, a self closing tag. Okay, I mean to say we'll give a key. The key will be cell. They will add the index to it. Very simple. Great. Then the fill color, right, is going to be the colors up there, right? If you remember how the colors up there, then we'll pass the index, right? Mode colors dot length. Okay, great. Oh, colors dot length. Okay, colors index colors dot length. How many colors do I have? Where are the colors? This. Okay. Oh, okay. This is supposed to be key. Did I make any? Okay, so colors, then index, load colors dot length. Oh, okay, it's supposed to be length. Great, length, great. Okay, great. So this is our chart, right? Great. So we have this chart, very beautiful. So now let's go to the last part, which is this part, right? Okay, so you can change the colors to your preference. Okay, great. Great, so now let us go to transactions. Okay, so transactions, great. Okay, so here I'll also bring the title, and I'll say latest transactions. Okay, it should be down here. Okay, let's give some room for spacing. So py of 20. the width should be full, and on MD, width should be 2/3. Okay, div class overflow to auto. Now we want the overflow of X because on small devices we should be able to scroll the table, right? And margin top of 5. We want to be able to scroll the table if we have, yes. So we have a table, great. And I'll say, okay, let me give a width of full. Okay, now we'll have a header, table head. So that one, let me just copy and paste the table head. Okay, so this is a table head. So let me make it this. So you see, so we have the table head and the row, right? And we have each table head in. So we have the date, the name, the status, the source of the funds, and the account, right? Okay, so each one also have a class of py, that's padding top and bottom of this, right? Yeah. And okay, let me remove this. Okay, great. So we have this here. If you check, we'll have it here like that. Now we have classes. We want the table head to be full, right? It should have a border bottom. The border bottom should be gray 300, and on dark it should be gray 700. So if you check, you can see there's a line beneath it. Very simple. Okay, so now let us go to the body. So T body. Okay, so now let us map over data, and I'll just copy my data and bring it here. Okay, so this is an array, and it has date, name, contact, status, source, and the amount, right? Okay, so I think there are 10 records or so. Yeah, so let's map over the data. So I'll say each item and index. Then immediately we can return something. So what are we going to return? We need to return a TR, right? Great. And inside this TR, we're going to have the various table data TD. Okay, great. And the first one is the item.date. Okay, so data is not a function. What is our issue? Oh, sorry, it ought to be map, not nav. Great. So you see, it's here, we have the date. Good. Now let's start this before we forget. Also, let's give the key, which can be the index. Okay, great. So here, what are the styles? The styles is we want to have a border bottom, right? And the border bottom should be gray dash 200 on dark border bottom. Border gray dash 700. Test gray dash 600. Okay, 600 on dark test dash gray dash 500. Yes, and on hover, when we hover, we want to highlight it. So it's a bg dash gray dash dash 300. Then we want to give a little bit of opacity of 10. Okay, so you can see there is a little bit background effect. Okay, so now let's start this py2 and ps2. Okay, great. So I'll just duplicate this, right? For the others, I don't know. Okay, great. My guess all right. Okay, so here now, here let's have it this way. We'll have a div inside instead. I have a paragraph, and the paragraph will take the item item dot name, right? Great. And beneath it, we have a span which will take item dot contact. Okay, so something like this. Great. Okay, great. Okay, great. So yeah, okay, great. So let's start the individual items. So here we're going to say it should be flex. I think it will not be even be needed. Okay, so let's start this straight up. Okay, great. We want font of medium, text of LG, text to black, right? And on dark, I want the text to be gray dash 400. Okay, now let's start this. The text should be SM and the text of gray dash 600. Okay, great. Now this here, the next one, which will house the status, I want to get a span tag, and inside I'll put the status. Okay, and I think I want to do something different. So here I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so I have different icons, right? Okay, so I have 3 icons. If it is pending, I want to show a different one, which is this icon. If it is this completed, I show a different one. And if it's rejected also or unsuccessful, I show a different one. Okay, so the icons should, okay, great, they should be here. Okay, great. Okay, okay, let me put it aside. Okay, great. So here, okay, where is it? Okay, so here. Now, let me make this to flex and items to center and see a little gap of 2. Okay, great. So if let's change the styling. Okay, so if it is successful, I mean if it is pending, I want to change the color to yellow. Let me change it to amber 600 MT. Okay, great. And also give us a size of 22 to make it big. Great. So I'll just copy this style here and put it here and here. Now if it is completed, then it should be emerald. Great. So green, great. And if it is rejected, we can make it red. Okay, so if you look to the original design, I mean this just came out. We have it like this. However, I think I'll leave this one, this code also there, right? So I'll just copy and bring that if you want that, but I think I want it this way. I think I'm cool with this one instead. But however, I'll put this code up here, right? If you need that, you can just copy this and replace that table row, right? If you need the old one, I mean. Okay, so we are just formatting it conditionally, giving a background and a text color. But I think I prefer this one. Okay, and also I think let me reduce the item. So I'll use the slice function, slice, right, to reduce the items. Great. Okay, so I've reduced it. Okay, so where am I? Okay, so here, great. Okay, so now let's continue. So now we're here. I think this one is also cool. So let's add a little bit of classes to this. The text should be black, right? And on dark, text should be gray, 400. The text should be beige normally. And on MD, text should be LG. Great. And this is supposed to be source. I tell the source. So here supposed to be amount, right? And here to be source. I don't think it's working. Okay, so here I'll add the dollar sign and I'll just put dot 0, 0 here to format it. Okay, like this. Okay, great. Just black, dark this. The styling here is not getting applied. I don't know why. Okay, so if I go here, just like this. I think my styles is not getting applied. The style here. So I'm saying it should be base and MD should be large. If I say LG, okay, I think it works. Okay, so let me see if it works. I think it works. Okay, I think it works. It's working. I think okay, so I think I should make it like this and just change the font to medium, make it a little bit bold. Yes, great. Yes, okay, so I think now I have it. Great, I think I like this way instead, right? Great. And let's see, maybe I should increase the icon size a little, over 22 to 24 and see. Great. Okay, so you can play around it to whatever size you want. Right, so I mean you need to change the others. So 22 and 22 to 24. Right, great. I think this one is okay. Okay, so now let us go to account very fast, then we will finish. Okay, so we can close this, go here and click on this. I'll also bring that one, the data that I have. Okay, so I have this data, and in the data I have name, this is crypto, right, and the dummy account and the amount, and I'm also rendering an icon, right? Each icon I render a div, and inside the div I have the icon with size and different colors. So the width 12 and the height 12 with the background color and a text color of white, flex center and justify center, and rounded full. So all of them have the same thing, just that the contents changes, right? This one has a background of blue with a different icon. Great. And this is also MasterCard. Okay, and this lastly it's paper. Okay, great. So now inside here, as usual, I'll bring the title, import it, right? Great. Style it this way. So how do we style here? Margin top of 20, MD, margin top of 0, PY 5 on MD, PY 20. Okay, MD width dash 1 over 3. Great. Okay, so we have it this way. Inside it, I want to have a subtitle that says view all your accounts. Okay, let's style it. Test grid dash sm test of gray dash 600, and on that test gray dash 500. Okay, great. Now let's have a div, and this div will have a class of width of full. Now inside it, we're going to map over the data. Again, we'll get each item and the index. Something is totally wrong. Great. So we'll get item here and index. Then instantly we can return a div. Okay, great. Now we need to give a key, which will be the index, and also give class. Okay, so what class are we going to give? We're going to say it should be flex items to center and a gap of 4. Great. Inside it, I have another div. Great. Then I'll render the item.icon. Okay, great. So I have the icons here, and inside here, I'll have another div. That div will have a paragraph tag, which will render the item.name and a span tag for item.account. Okay, great. So let's start it. Let's begin from here. So class flex item center, a gap of also 4. This should be flex. Okay, so this should be flex item center. Let me put justified to between, and let's modify this to 6. Flex. Okay, great. Okay, so now let me start this. Test black on dark, test gray, that's 400, and the test should be LG. Okay, great. Here we want test of gray dash 600. Okay, great. Let me change this to margin top of each item. Great. So each margin top should be this. Okay, so after this, right? Okay, go here. Great. So in here we'll have another div which will render the other part. Okay, the other part, I'm going to have a paragraph which will have a $sign, and I'll have item.amount. Great. And beneath it, I'll have a span that will say account no balance. Oh my goodness, account balance. Great. So like this. Okay, so let's start this. Class test of Excel, test of black, on dark, test of gray, that's 400, font of medium, great. Then let's also start this test of SM, test of gray dash 600, and on dark test dash violet dash 700. Okay, so I think that's all. We are done. Okay, great, pretty simple, right? Great. So I mean, you can improve upon it. And okay, so you see this, we need to change this. Okay, so where is that? It's in the start. Start. Where do we have the great? Amount should be $sign. Great. Okay, so you have the right to improve upon it and use it as your own. Yeah, great. So on that theme, we also have it like this, pretty simple. And let's check if it is mobile responsive. Great, out of the box it is here. Great. So we have our chat here, right? Great. We have this also here, and we have this, and now we also have this, and I think it's also the same. Okay, so I have also changed this one here, right? Okay, great. Yeah, it works fine. Perfect. Okay, great. And I like the, yes, cool, the cool animation, yeah, here of the chat. Okay, great. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Great.